El Black History Month, o mes de la historia afroamericana, tuvo sus inicios en 1926 en los Estados Unidos, siendo escogida la segunda semana de febrero para celebrarla. Esta semana fue elegida porque coincide con el cumpleaños del líder abolicionista Frederick Douglass y el presidente Abraham Lincoln. La primera celebración de Black History Month ocurrió en la Universidad Kent State, en Ohio, en febrero de 1970. 6 años más tarde, durante el bicentenario, el presidente Gerald Ford instó a los estadounidenses a que aprovecharan la oportunidad para honrar los logros en todos los ámbitos de los afroamericanos ignorados con demasiada frecuencia a lo largo de la historia. En esta oportunidad, la directora de prensa adjunta de la Embajada de los Estados Unidos, Jehan, expuso ante un grupo de estudiantes de inglés sobre la preeminencia del líder del movimiento civil por los derechos humanos, Martin Luther King Jr., y de otros influyentes personajes, incluyendo a su mamá, que ayudaron a extinguir la segregación racial y son ejemplo en el mundo de la lucha por la igualdad en todas las actividades.
Of freedom buried in the ground.
My name is Jehan. My presentation is about Martin Luther King Jr., but also other influential, important African Americans. Okay, the first person is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the founder or the head person of the civil rights movement in the United States. He believed in the nonviolent approach. So one of his most famous speeches, which he's giving right now, was the I Have a Dream speech, and that was in August of 1963. So we celebrate his birthday every January to a community service day. So all around the United States, people take this day to do something in addition to learning about Martin Luther King Jr., but to help others. The second person is Dr. Macy Jemison. She was the very first African-American female astronaut in 1992. She sailed to the moon with others on the Space Shuttle Endeavour. Louis Armstrong, I picked him because I love music and hip-hop and R&B and rock and roll, and you wouldn't have hip-hop and R&B and rock and roll without jazz, and you wouldn't have jazz without Louis Armstrong. The next I picked was the Avenatti Dance Theater. In about 1958, Avenatti started his own dance theater using what he thought was beautiful in dance, and used gospels and music, soulful music to inspire him. And Marian Anderson reached high levels. 75,000 people stood outside, listened to her sing for hours. Because she has such a beautiful voice, and they said, well, we're gonna support you and listen to you sing, and regardless if you can't get inside. And she opened up many doors for, people like Beyonce wouldn't exist if she had never been here. Oprah Winfrey, everyone knows who Oprah Winfrey is. Obviously she's one of the most richest women in the entire world. When she was a kid, her mom made her dresses out of potato bags, because they didn't have any clothes, so she made the clothes out of the bags that potatoes are in. And she didn't have a bathroom in her house. And now she has probably like 100 houses and 100 bathrooms. She opened up a school in South Africa, and her motto is live your best life. Then I picked Toni Morrison. She won the Nobel Laureate Prize. She won the Pulitzer Prize. Her books are very moving. I picked Colin Powell, and he was my very first boss. He was my boss's 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 boss. I saw him like one time my whole life, but he still was my boss. And he was the very first African-American Secretary of State. And later, we had Condoleezza Rice. This person I picked is my mom, African-American, who was very important. She's in Merida. We're doing some adventure tourism. She's 63 years old, and she doesn't look like it. But that's not why I picked her. I picked her because my mom has had a very different life than me, and that I would gather everyone in this room. She was born on a farm. She was born in a very rural area of Virginia. She was born into segregation. She couldn't go to a restaurant. She couldn't go to the doctor. If she went to the doctor, she had to stay in the back in the alley, and the doctor would wait until he was finished with all of his white clients, and then he would open the back door and see them in the street. So she went to all black schools, and then schools were open. Her 11th grade year, 4th and 5th year of high school, colegio. She went to an all-white school, and she had to have police help her go to school every day because they didn't want her to come into the school. And parents were throwing rocks at her in the morning. And she would go to the school and she couldn't go to the bathroom. She stayed 8 hours in school and she couldn't use the bathroom because she was scared to go to the bathroom, she was scared to go to school, and some of her sisters didn't go. They stayed at the black school, and they said, why are you going to go put yourself through this? But the white school had a science department, and it had tables, and it had chairs, and it had multiple classrooms, and the black school had one classroom, and so she said, I have to go. So she went to the prom. She was the only black person at the prom, and she danced by herself, and she couldn't take a date because she couldn't go with a white guy to the prom because that was illegal. And there were no black guys at school, so she went by herself. I remember she told me one time her guidance counselor, that's the person that you talk to, helps you with your career, helps you pick out the classes, helps you figure out what college to go to or university. And she said, well, you're not smart enough and you shouldn't go to university. Maybe you can be a secretary, not like secretario de Estado, but a secretary, like you could maybe work in somebody's office. And she didn't believe that. She went to college, she got her master's degree, she ended up being in charge of an entire school system. She went from not being able to go to school to being in charge of an entire school system. And the last person I picked was President Barack Obama, who was just inaugurated on Monday for his second four-year term. And in my life, I never thought I would see a black president. I thought maybe when I had kids, they'd have a black president. And so it's amazing that 50 years later, you know, we have a person who's African American who's the president of the United States. And it shows like just very far how we've come. In summary, everybody I listed today, I picked them because they had trials and they had problems and adversity, but they rose to high levels. They didn't let things stop them. They kept going, and because of them, the world is different. Definitely the United States. And I would dare to say that other places in the world have changed after we changed or when we changed because of people like Martin Luther King Jr. or because of Mary Anderson or because of my mom. No, come on. But because of Colin Powell, they have made the world a better place.